Hey there, guys. Blackjack here, coming at you with a brand new rules review this time for one of my favorite miniature games out there, Judge Dredd. Now, for those of you who don't know, Judge Dredd is a very, very old property. By 2000 AD, this game is rule set done by Rebellion, produced by Warlord Games. Many of you guys know Warlord Games from things like Bolt Action, things like that. Great pulpy game. But guess what? That's not it. This book right here is the current edition of the game, which I will be going over in detail, but got a little surprise for you guys today. Because many of you guys don't realize there was actually a game of Judge Dredd before this. The hardback Judge Dredd miniatures game. Once again, Warlord Games, 2000 AD, Rebellion, produced by Mongoose. Very, very, very different games. So, but as you can see, just give you a quick flip through. Just in the fact the number of models that they came out with, forces, things like that. But anyway, this is going to be a first impressions. Well, can't really be a first impressions, but let's just say more of a what do I think of the rule book itself, having played this game since release? And when I mean since release, I mean since release. So, but we're going to start with this one. This game, cons. Well, let's actually start with the pros. A lot of people like to start with the cons. I'll go pros. I actually enjoy the artwork in the game, in this game book. Really, really good. Taken straight from the comic. For those of you who don't know, Judge Dredd is a very long-running, I think early 80s, I believe, comic series that actually runs in real time. Meaning, if a year passed in our world, a year's passed in the Judge Dredd universe too. And contrary to popular belief, I would say Judge Dredd is really two different universes in one. You've got your very pulpy, let's just have fun, stupid stories, let's go with it, a la Sylvester Stallone. The only difference between the Sylvester Stallone movie, Judge Dredd versus Dredd, which is by far my favorite Dredd media to date, would be Dredd never, ever, once again, ever takes off his helmet. He actually did one time in the comic, and everybody was horrified. But both ways to play is very fun. So in this game, of course, the I am the law, got your nice little iconic picture of our Anderson and Dredd. A little bit of an introduction, give you guys some information on the game itself. Then we're going to the core rules. Now, the nice thing about Judge Dredd is it's using the same basic rule set you're going to find in other games that Warlord has produced, like Slain and Strontium Dogs. Someone tell me how to pronounce that, please. Dogs, which unfortunately the Dogs one is out of print now, but they're all in the same universe. So in here you use custom dice along with your regular D6, table rules or dice rules. Lots and lots of chits, things like that for activations. For a lot of you guys who play skirmish games, this is gonna feel like, old news, but it does use facing in the game for your front back arcs, stat lines, star chips. Now, one thing I do like about this game, and you're going to find it in modern other games such as Rebellion, Star Wars Rebellion, it uses a chit system. In which both players have the number of models that you have correspond with the number of chits. You put them in a bag, you pull them out, and boom, that's what the next unit goes. That corresponds with a chit. Whereas in Rebellion, you have your core, your different types that tells you what kind of unit moves. This one, they could be used for anything. Now, one thing in this game is you have two different types. You have your regular action chits and your star chits. And of course, I'm going to go over this when I do the how to play game. But the differences in the star chits is in the game, I'll go back here, you have what's called your cool. Your cool is basically keeping cool under pressure. Let's just do some cool stuff, have fun with the game, stuff like that. So after they do their actions, they get to make a roll. Number of cool they have is how many dice they roll, and if you come up with the 2000 AD symbol, which basically corresponds to a 6, the chit goes back in the game into the bag. And you can place it onto any model you want, so you don't have to put it onto your high cool factor, models such as Dredd. You can put it on just a regular old ganger. The odds of them going again, not that high, but hey, you may need them to activate. Another thing I do like, scattered throughout this entire book, you see this, but you're going to have little tidbits of the world. Like this one, Mayor Dave. Literally became the mayor of Mega City 1, and is a reason why capitalism doesn't work in the Judge Dredd universe, or democracy does not work. Yeah, it's a weird game. So, and some of you guys may not like that aesthetic. You can ignore it. Then you've got your grim dark, them making recycled people to eat. Wound chart, because this game does not use actual wound statistics. They basically have, hey, if you get excuse me, you basically become stunned, injured, and for every serious injuries you get, your stats go down. So, pretty cool. Mounted models, because you got your on foot, you've got your mounted. Ramming, rules for vehicles, your statistics. Now, here's one of the things. Pro, great world. The book itself gives you a feel for that world. Con, this is a big con for me. The stats for all the weapons, things like that, are scattered throughout the entire book. So as you're playing, here's your rules for your terrain. So all in all, rules themselves are pretty much of this entire book. 4 rules right there. Small sliver of this gigantic book. But then you go into the armory, which basically gives you, here's your pistols, here's things, how many guns can the models carry, stuff like that. But there's no, at the back of the book, there's no chart just telling you what everything does. And you get some weapons, stub guns, long guns, rifles, heavy weapons, baseball bats, all this fun stuff, your close combat weapons. Once again, here's some more. Here's some more. Fluff. Special rules for all the weapons. And then you get into another little gimmick that they have is armory cards. So in this game, we all know in the movie, if you've seen either movie, the lawgiver, the personal weapons of the judges, have specific abilities like rapid fire, hot shots, grenades, stuff like that. In this game, you actually have a deck of cards and you draw them at the beginning of the turn, and that's what special weapons they can use or special abilities. So they don't come built into the game. So to me, I really don't care for that. It works well balancing, I guess. But the fact that in order to use something like rapid fire, or not, the grenade, you actually have to have the card for the grenade. And it can be used for anybody, not just that weapon. So, of course, speaking of grenades, here's your hand bombs. The denizens. Here's another good thing I like about it. It's divided up into the Justice Department with all your different things, your standard profiles of your standard judges. Then it goes into your weapons of the Justice Department, the vehicles, weapons, specialist upgrades you can give to your judges. Then the heroes, which of course you've got Dredd. So once again, the models themselves, and of course, when I get into the actual how to play, I'll show you the models, really do bring you into it. A lot of people think Judge Dredd is this large in life character, and he is. But in all honesty, in the game, he looks like a regular street judge, which is the point. So really makes me happy that Rebellion, guys, overseeing this game, did a great job making sure they stayed true to it. Then you've got your different ones, robots, Judge Death. And now we're going to get into another con I have. So basically, you have pretty much 3 different categories or 3 different army lists. You could say you've got your hero, your Justice Department, your block gang, which are just your street punks that you see everywhere. And then, of course, you've got your, you get to it, block gang, there's your muties, fatties are in here, and then, of course, your civ defense. And the reason I say these are the only ones that are basically common enough to make a force-based around. The problem is you can mix and match as you see fit. Now, some of you guys, you may love that. But the book itself doesn't really give you a feel of who really works for who. The most you'll get, of course, average citizens, is on that. You're going to get the role. He's like this Orlok the Assassin. He's a Soviet agent. Allies, East Meg 1 survivors, which you only really find about them in the fluff. There's really, outside of one other model, there's really nothing in them that make them special. Enemies, Mega City 1 and Judge Dredd. But there's nothing stopping you putting Orlok in with Judge Dredd. So if there's a way to do it, a lot of people like to break them up, but the rulebook itself, your fatties, just a great feel, but I feel you have to flip around a lot because it's not broken up into the individual gangs you can run. Like you've got your Cursed Earth, Muty Sky Raiders. Basically, you have 3 models. That's it. Really? But, and once again, it's just, there's your stats, here's your weapons. Vehicles are all, it's laid out okay, but it feels kind of sterilized. I mean, artwork, give you a feel for everybody does get their own little bit of artwork, some fluff to theme your forces, but Then, of course, you go into your scenarios, which you've got 6. Pretty much you got your different notoriety ratings for your different size games, which I do appreciate. For some reason, and I don't know why this is, for some reason in today's gaming, a lot of people don't want to say what your standard game size is. Like, what are we designing this game to be played around? This one, they actually give you. So 20 to 25 is a small game, mediums 26 to 50 rep or notoriety points or points. Then large is 50 plus. And it actually does, when it says 3+ hours, 1 to 2 hours, it really does feel that way. Even learning the game itself is so simple that it really is a 20 to 25 point, even during a demo game, usually takes less than an hour. Of course, players differ per person, but yeah. Then, of course, it's played on a 3x3 table. Of course, encounter sentencing, and this is one thing in the rulebook I really just don't care for. Okay, sentencing, why couldn't we have put that in with the judge information? Because it, outside of a specific scenarios, or if you're not using the judges, this adds nothing to the gameplay in the scenarios outside of fluff. Don't get me wrong, love fluff in the game. But the layout in this book, not the greatest. Not the greatest. In this book, there's so much flipping around. You've got your campaign, which is ultra simple, fairly light bookkeeping. And once again, your sentencing tables, which actually can make a difference in the game, once again, for fluff. And if you're running a judge, gives you, hey, it's going to miss this next game, here's what's going to happen, things like that. Because the idea behind this, and I once again another pro as far as bringing you into the setting, is it specifically says is the battles you fight aren't necessarily the every battle this game is every fought. These are the highlights of their adventures. So things like that, base upgrades. I do like that in the campaign. Then you have your narrative scenarios. One nice thing they do, of course, weapon variants. Never really use these, so. Now at the back here, the only thing they did right is, remember what I said? Like if you want high explosives, go to this page in the book. Use a throw or special round, but you have to get that card into your hand. So easy fix. If you guys get into this game, I usually say you make a deck of 15 cards or 10 cards. Some people say 10. I like 15, gives you a little thing. You can put up to 3 of the same kind of card, and then you deal those out. There you go. But, play as you want. It's your game. Enjoy it. Then, of course, your index. And a campaign record sheet. So, as a rule book itself, it's not bad, but would I say buy this on its own? No. It comes in the I Am the Law starter set, which gives you one judge and basically a box of gangs, all the tokens, the cards, everything you need to play, because without those cards, without everything else, the game, you can't really play this without them. I mean, you could with a lot of, okay, here's what the dice represent, things like that, but it really is designed around all their special tokens, because there's so many. Let's just do a quick count, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got 7 special tokens. You got Overwatch, your pinned, which do matter. These pinned, stunned, and wounds do make a difference. You can't just remember it. And of course, you've got the card. One nice thing that comes in the thing is you get these little cards. And of course, I'll show these later. This is just look at the rule book in and of itself. That gives you the stats for everything. But not everybody in here has models even released today. The fatties, which some people, like we got these fatties here. You get 3 of them. And I have enough models I can run a fatty gang. But the Porker here, the only special character for the fatties, which you do need special characters in this game. They don't break the game outside of Dredd. But Dredd is Dredd. Doesn't have a model. So you're going to have to basically convert your own, which some people enjoy that. Me, I like to have that actual character at times. But that's me. Your mileage may vary. So can you play this game just by buying the rule book and the models? Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I think the rule book is selling. See, I didn't do this one. You have to double check. But last I saw, it's around about $40. Not a bad price, because it does give you like all the information you need, just not all the stuff. Whereas with the I Am the Law starter, you get everything you need, and then you can buy more as it comes on. So, decent rule book. Get it with the box set, don't get it on its own. Now, this one, very different game. This one uses your standard D6. All right. And of course, written in the Comic Sans, which for me, just once again, I feel like as I look through this, like there's your old Street Judge model. It's just the griminess of the page, the coloration of the page. Just feel like there's your Judge Death. It just feels like as you just flip through it, it's like, yeah, this is Judge Dredd. This is definitely Judge Dredd. And other thing that I like about it, when in comparison to the other one, you get so many different models and gangs. The rules in this one, here's your setup. The character sheets, very, looks like a lot, but it's still, you got your armor, will, how many dice you roll, pluses, minuses, pretty simple. Shooting, how many dice, so there's a lot of dices. That's what you add. So in this game, it's buckets of dice. Well, not that many, but you're rolling multiple dice at once. And you're just adding to that, then you get your bonuses. And yeah, and same thing with the other game. But once again, you're just rolling your standard D6. Then you got your advanced rules for dual fighting, shoot action. So introduction, models. They have a lot of different ones. Your hero models, describing the game turn, shooting actions, close combat actions or melee, special actions, advanced rules, vehicles. And that's pretty much it. The game itself looks complex, but it's, once again, small rule set, and a lot of that is taken up by giving you examples and explaining things. Of course, it has a very detailed campaign, because this game as opposed to the other one, Judge Dredd today is designed around skirmish play. Like one mission, you keep going, mission to mission, not really a great campaign. This one is kind of like playing I'm going to say old style Necromunda, or Mordheim, for those of you who remember that. So characters become their own things. Another thing I like about this game, really, and this is something I just don't understand why they don't do, creating a force for standalone games, campaign games. Then here's your judge department. Judge department is its own thing. Street judges, side judges, right judges, rookie judges. That's it. Then, of course, you got your special character somewhere else. You can add those in, but they're not included. So that's its own force. The British Justice Department. There's all the models. And another thing, they show you the model that it represents. Civic defense or city defense. Pretty simple. Of course, you get upgrades to give them missile launchers and things like that. Your street gangs. And it tells you what your mercenaries are down here. All of them can take mercenaries for those, say, like the street gangs who basically only have your juvies and your punks. All right. Then we got the apes. So this game goes deep into the lore, which of course I think this came out after. Yeah, this came out after the Stallone movie, but I think before the Dredd movie. So it really feels like this was made for the fans. Your vigilante heroes, the Angel Gang. My favorite one, the Dark Judges, which they're starting to bring out in the new one. So, but I will say the new models do look better than the old models. There's your Death, Judge Fire, Fear, and Mortis. And no, these do not take, this is one of those forces that don't take mercenaries, because these guys are all just overpowered out everything. So these guys are, some of these armies aren't really designed for for fair play. It's designed against, hey, let's all try to take this one guy out. Level, Infinity, Judge Cal's personal retinue, zombie horde. Yes, there's zombies. There's demons, robots. equipment, and then different special rules for the different things, your weapons and all that fun stuff, your minions and heroes. And this is now we're getting into the campaigns. So even in the base game, I'll say, looks complicated, but once again, think this is like an old school RPG computer game with skill trees that they can build up. They got a lot of them. Then you got your psychic abilities. We go into your scenarios. And this one really does encourage you to make your own. So, turf grab, which is a lot of fun, actually. Playing a campaign. And then, remember I said about the mercenaries? Here's all the mercenaries. Exorcist judges, cadets, guerrillas, heavy weapons judge, tech judges. Then we got Dredd, who in both games, I will say this, your standard game in this is 500 credits. Judge coming in at 625. And out of curiosity, let's just jump back. Like I said, I like to keep these things a little bit more. For those of you first time visiting, I like to keep these things kind of a little bit more conversational style, a little bit more loose. But Judge Dredd, 900 credits. 800. 800. 800. So remember what I said, these guys aren't designed to be fair. They're not. If you bring all four, you basically have an epic game where you're going to need 2 or more players just fighting against these guys. So, all in all, I'm going to say this. Well, let's get this. Then we have specialized campaigns and specialized. Now, this I like. Famous firefights. The Robot Wars. And it literally gives you what forces you're going to be using, things like that. So these are the more, especially for the comic fans, you'll recognize this. The Day the Law Died. Decker's Last Stand with lots of zombies. And then more characters. And now, my favorite part, I think every book should have a nice, good chunk of lore. There we go. Which, pretty good. And the nice thing is, when you look this up, you can literally go back, incorporate this into your games, and even find the comics. Like if you just type in some of these things, it will literally tell you what comic series it's from. Then you've got, this was a Kickstarter. So here's all the Kickstarters. Your index. And then remember what I said? References. General equipment, your Justice Department, all the weapons. So, because I can kind of get over, then your game turns broken up. And even like East Meg 1, there's their specialized equipment. So, all in all, so how would I rate this compared to this? Well, let's take a quick look. I'm going to say this today was designed a lot more streamlined. This actually is more streamlined than this. Game is designed to be a little bit faster to play, but it loses some of the personality that this one has. This one, for me, between the two, this one you can play by the book, by the miniatures, you're good. That's all you need. Of course, D6s. And if you're any kind of gamer, you might have, especially if you might have a dice box like this. This is for I play so many D6 games that it was just easier to have a box of dice. So, out of print, in print. So this, of course, is going to be harder to get than this. What would I prefer playing long term? I'm actually going to say this, but to introduce people for modern sensibilities, we've got this. Both games are great, though. Don't get me wrong. Both games are great. They just have very different feels. This, let's put it this way. This is Sylvester Stallone. This is Dredd. This has your pulpy, fun, let's just going to have a quick game. We're going to enjoy ourselves, shoot things, grab a beer. I enjoy it. This one here feels like I'm in the Dredd universe. That let's just not say take it seriously. It's still pulpy fun. I mean, you're summoning demons against naked judges. Yes, they're in the game. But so you still have that. But for me, it's a little bit grittier. It's a little bit more in line to the comic. This is more in line to your pulp Stallone. So pick what you like. Enjoy it. I will be playing this more and more. I will have some battle reports coming out for it. But anyway, I would really like to know what you guys think. So leave your comments down in the comment section below, wherever it is. And yeah, hopefully I'll have a battle report up soon. Just with the heat and everybody kind of away at the moment, hard to get these battle reports in. And unlike others, I'd rather not do it solo. I like to have the interaction with other people, get their ideas. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great day. We shall see you later.